To score a goal, or not to score a goal? Every Rocket League player contemplates this saying. However, most do not take it to heart. They either look at it from the surface, or do not look from outside the box. In a 1v1, it is you versus your opponent. But when you look into it deeper, it is simply you versus you. Your body versus your mind. And this is what I'll be doing in 1 week against a diamond. Now, let me give you some context. It's 2026 and a pretty small streamer called Jinxie suddenly boosted the popularity of Rocket League, which made it hit 1 million players in January since September of 2020. So I thought, well, why not give this game a try? What's the worst that could happen? So anyway, I asked some friends to download and play, but little did I know, one of my friends was actually a diamond back in 2023. I said he was washed and challenged him to a 1-on-1 in a week time. What prompted me to do this? I have no idea, but I had to win no matter what. On the first day, I woke up prepared. It was also Sunday, so I had plenty of time to train. Alright, I'll be honest. On the first day, I basically just played the game regularly with my friends. But don't misunderstand, this was supposed to make me see what I could work on. Anyways, the first half of day 1, I played some 3v3 matches, and I gotta be honest, I was kinda cooking. And so after all this, I saw what I need to work on, and this was my plan. Number 1, aerials. A diamond is pretty good at doing shots in the air, so I need to get experience at controlling my car in the air. Number 2, shooting. This is important as this is my main way of scoring a goal. If I didn't get any better at this, then I would be at lost cause. And finally, defense. I'll need to learn the perfect defense in order to defeat a diamond, like defending in the air, ground, or everything in between. And with all this, I began to actually start my training arc. I started shooting and doing aerials. And not even 10 minutes later, I hopped back in and played some matches. Anyways, instead of training, I thought it would be a better idea to finish my new Java challenges and unlock ranks so I can 1v1. But then for some reason I started playing with my friends. I don't even know what was going on inside my head. And with that, day 1 comes to an end and no progress has been made. It was day 2 and honestly, I was feeling pretty good. But through my research, there's one thing I saw every high ranking player do. I will later find out it was called the speed flip. A speed flip is used in order to reach the highest speed in the shortest amount of time. This can be used in many different ways, like in kickoffs, moving around the fields, and fast recoveries. And on day 2, I will be learning the speed flip. To start, I figured it would be a good idea to follow a YouTube video in order to learn a speed flip. But instead of watching one video, I thought it would be beneficial to watch multiple videos and see what information they have in common. After watching a couple of videos, I managed to get the basic overview on how to do a speed flip. You would first need to diagonal flip, then immediately flip cancel and use arrow to correct the car to land straight while also using boost. Yeah, and I was going to learn this all in 1 day. So after learning and getting ready, I decided to hop in training and started learning slowly, step by step. Step 1. The first thing you need to learn is the flip cancel. Essentially, you'll flip forward with your joystick and then immediately pull your joystick backward. What this does is cancel the flip. Step 2. Next, you'll have to know how to diagonal flip, which is pretty easy. Put your joystick 15 to 30 degrees left or right and then flip. Step 3. Then you have to combine both of them. Do the diagonal flip and then immediately perform a flip cancel. Step 4. Either use free or directional arrow to make your car land on all 4 of the wheels. And then finally, Step 5. Use boost through the entire speed flip. This was basically the entire gist of it. And after watching all those videos, I thought it was pretty easy to understand. I was wrong. After getting used to the general controls and mechanics, I figured I could use maps to test my speed flipping abilities, and of course I aced every single one. And after all that hard training, I decided to call it a day. I woke up to a sunny day. The birds were chirping, and my fingers were aching to play Rocket League. I knew that if I lost this, my pride and dignity would all be gone. Since it was a 1v1, I wanted to practice to get my experience in them. So on day 3, I decided to grind a bunch of 1v1s. Each opponent was like a new wall waiting to be climbed. And of course I climbed them like a mountain goat.
3, 2, 1, go!
After sweating in plastic lobbies, I wanted to practice more of my speed flips because it didn't exactly go the best yesterday. And of course I mastered it. Then I decided to call it a day and hit the hay. They say practice makes perfect, but I think they really mean to say do the same shot until you make it, and that I will follow. As a diamond, they should be well versed in being in the air, like a dove. I noticed I was only doing groundwork like a groundhog. I needed to expand my horizons and fly like a bird, grow my wings to fly in the sky like a pigeon. So I looked on Google for the best aerial practice maps and I got straight to work. I felt wings emerge from the very back of my rocket-powered car. My fingers knew what to do in order to control the ball. See, back in my day they used to call me the master ball handler. With this newfound prowess of mine, I decided to go back to 1v1s. And of course, I dominated every single match, goal after goal. I couldn't stop myself if I wanted to. The balls took control of me. I felt the rush, the excitement, but it all came crashing down when I faced this opponent, the real Chumpster, my mortal enemy. After scoring a lucky goal, he decides to taunt me by saying chump, but you see, I've transcended beyond the mortal realm, and rage bait doesn't affect me anymore. I then let him score 2 more goals, and honestly looking back, I was actually pretty horrible. But no worries, I practiced for a reason. After scoring those 2 lucky goals, he then says, FF, where are you going? And this was my breaking point. I sensed the beast coming inside of me. I tried to hold it back, but it was to no avail. So with this newfound rage inside of me, I decided to perform the perfect maneuver on kickoff and score. Bam! 1-5. Even with this goal, I knew he was far better than me, and the game ended 2-7. But with my sheer determination, the real Chumpster must have had a change of heart. When the game ended, he said, well played. And I'll be honest, as a grown man, I shed a tear. But not even a second later, he took back what he said. What I thought would be a nice way to end it off, the real Chumpster didn't want that. And we stayed enemies. I guess a lesson I learned on this day was to keep going no matter what I face. Waking up on day 5, I felt energized and ready to go. After all those matches from yesterday, I was able to unlock ranked. With a new sense of confidence, I dived straight in without ever knowing the man I would be after all those ranked games. Kill me. Okay, I'll be honest. I was too lazy, so I didn't record any footage and probably didn't even play Rocket League. But do not be worried. This was basically my rest day to help accumulate all my newfound skills. I had to rest my strong little fingers in order to become good. And so, I doomscrolled for 7 hours straight. The last day of practicing. And was I scared? Scared of losing my pride? I'll be lying if I said no. Even with this feeling, I couldn't back down. I was at the home stretch. And on the last day, instead of reinforcing the basics and the things I learned already, I concluded it would be a good idea to learn a whole new mechanic. Dribbling. It's basically where you have the ball on top of your car and you can control it and do all these crazy kinds of things. If I learned this, maybe I could break the ankles of my opponent and score an easy goal. So I started to get to work. Honestly, I was cooking. I hopped on this one dribbling map and grinded it for a solid 20 minutes, and was actually starting to feel like the master ball handler, keeping the ball glued to my car. But then, it happened. Instead of going in a straight line, I had to turn. And the second I tried to steer the ball still in my car, it flew off like a rocket ship. So I tried again and again, but it wasn't working. It was like trying to get a dead dog to backflip. Wait, what? So I did what any strategic mastermind would do. I went straight into aerial training. If I couldn't out-dribble a diamond, I could try to at least outfly him. I spent the rest of the day locked in the aerial control maps and practicing aerial shots. I was slowly getting comfortable reading the ball's arc in the air, and I was actually making contact with the ball. And with that, training was officially over. Tomorrow was the big day. It was time to face the diamond. It was game day. And the night before, I didn't sleep well. Not because I was nervous, but because I kept replaying every single day in my head. If I lost this, a week of my life would go down the drain. Before anything else, I got on and warmed up, trying to convince my hands they remember how to play this game. Then, I hopped in the party with my friends, and got ready for the first match. First to 3 wins. Game 1. We did kickoff, and I was honestly holding my own. I looked good. I was making saves. I was reading his shots and defending like a real 1v1 player. Sure, I may have missed a few shots, but in the beginning of the match, it felt even. Then, with 3 minutes and 34 seconds left on the clock, he finds a gap and scores. 0-1. And it was fine. Not the end of the world. But with his goal, I realized I had to do something about it. So I decided to go into lock-in mode and got rid of my headphones. However, this clearly did not help. Within the next couple of minutes, I got absolutely demolished. There were shots I missed, and shots I couldn't save. By the time the clock hit 107, it was 0-6. 0-6. And with all my friends watching, I didn't want to lose in such an embarrassing way. So, I did what any player would do in my situation. Hex mode, on! I opened up the match menu and added 6 goals to myself. Close game guys, come on, let's go. Lock in, close game. There wasn't even a hint of emotion in my eyes. And then, the score was tied, 6-6. And my friend did not take this lightly. Even with my 6 goals, he was somehow able to score 2 more. But I didn't want the first match to end so soon. So I did a little something. And now it was overtime. Sudden death. First goal wins. However, even after all my shenanigans and whatnot, I still lost to overtime. And game 1 goes to him. Game 2. It was game 2 and I actually needed to lock in this time. Kickoff starts and within 20 seconds, he scores. I wasn't even mentally ready yet. And in that exact moment, I started to slowly regret every decision that led to this 1v1. Still, I knew I had to even things up. And I get a chance to do it. A wide open goal. And I completely miss it. Immediately right after, he punishes the miss and scores again. 0-2. Then he gets another chance to score, and he hits me with an aerial shot. Little did he know, I was practicing this exact thing yesterday. I read the path of the ball and lifted up my car. And next thing you know, he scores. I was slowly starting to cry inside. On the next kickoff, I had the perfect chance to get one back. It was wide open. All I had to do was not miss. Yeah, I missed.
Yep. Shot on goal but missed.
And then it was 0-4. At this point, it wasn't even funny. It was just sad. Oh, but don't worry, it gets worse. He scores, making it 0-5 with 1 minute 33 seconds left on the clock. But then, all of a sudden, I had the ball on his half. I made it bounce on the post. And somehow, some way, I managed to score. right in his face. Now it was 1-5. Running that high, I calculate the next kickoff perfectly, timing it to score an easy kickoff goal. 2-5. For one moment, I thought this was the comeback arc. I was wrong. He then proceeds to whip out his belt and start hitting me over and over and over and over. And the game ended 2-9. Holy crap. Was it bad? Yes. Do I still have a chance to win? Absolutely not. But a true man never backs down, never gives up, no matter what. Game 3. Go big or go home. And luck must have been on my side, because right off kickoff, I had the easiest goal of my life. All I had to do was not miss. And I missed. Not once, but twice. After that, I generally sat there in shock. And I think you guys know the pattern already. I miss, and he scores. And before long, it was 0-6. And any hope I had left was absolutely gone. At this point, I was done being the nice guy. If I couldn't win with my skill, I had to win using different measures. Hacks mode on! 99-6. I was now miles ahead. Even though he scored 4 more goals, I was still fine. But for some reason, I felt some guilt. I knew what I did was wrong. You either die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I didn't want that. So, I pulled out the menu and made the score 0-10. The final whistle blew, and the game ended 0-11. And I lost all 3 games. It wasn't even close. I knew that I let everyone down. So, there it was. 7 days of training amounted to nothing. But I realized one thing after all these days. It was never really about beating a diamond in 7 days. I knew deep down it was never going to happen. What I really learned was getting better at something isn't a straight line. It's a bumpy road. So yeah, there it was. 7 days, 3 games, 0-3. I've been working on this video long enough, so make sure to like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah.